Hello YouTube, Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review for you, as is usual. For this one we're going to come back to my home county in Scotland, and if you've been watching my videos I've done from these guys before, you'll know I'm from Clackmannanshire, and we have two very good breweries here, the Harveston Brewery and also the Williams Brothers Brewery. So the one we're going to try today is from that second brewery, Williams Brothers, and we'll have a taste of the Cock of the Walk, which is a red ale. This is my best friend Grant's favourite beer from these guys, or one of his favourites. He really loves Williams Brothers beer, so it's quite cool to actually review this one and actually think about it properly. I've tasted this one with him a number of times and I know it's a very good beer. But as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll take you through a very short history of the brewery. It is very short for these guys, but as always, if you are simply interested in the tasting, just fast forward a few minutes and you will catch that. The brewery website is in the video description for you below too, along with the link to my other Williams Brothers beer reviews, so check those out. So anyway, Williams Brothers Brewery it basically started off in the family-owned Glen Brew home brewing shop in Glasgow, and these days they have a reputation for having developed many sort of historic ales. But the first ale that they produced was inspired by a 17th century Gaelic recipe for Freach Heather Ale, and it was named after the Celtic mythological hero of the same name. Now in 1988, a woman of Gaelic descent came into their brew shop with a translation into English of this ancient recipe, and she wanted to create a batch of this beer to share with her family, and she agreed to share it with Bruce Williams in exchange for him helping her actually to brew the beer. And the small batch of beer was produced, only a 5-barrel batch, at Tainoak railway station in Argyll and Bute, and the following year demand had actually increased massively, and this was where Williams Brothers beer really began to take off. But at this point Scott Williams joined his brother Bruce, and they began to develop various other historic recipes. This included the Groatsit, which is a gooseberry wheat ale, the Kelpie, which is a seaweed ale, Abelum, which is an elderberry black ale, and also the Alba, which is a Scotch pine ale. And these are all really interesting beers. I need to review more of those for you in the next little while. But these 4 recipes were produced at the Craigmill Brewery in Strathaven between 1988 and 2004, so they were brewing there for a number of years actually. But in 2004 the company relocated to their current base at the 4th brewery in Kellybank, Alloa, and this was when they actually adopted the name Williams Brothers Brewery, and they've developed 25 different recipes since they moved to this site, and they're actually one of the most prolific craft breweries in Scotland. They have a huge range of beer, so check that out in the brewery website. And oddly enough, they're actually, the other thing to point out, that Clackmannanshire is a big sort of whisky area. A lot of whisky is stored here to mature, but this is actually the last brewery in the Scottish brewing capital of Alloa, which is really unusual. It's a shame. Like, a lot of industry kind of died in Scotland with the tyrant that was Maggie Thatcher, if you like. But you know, these guys are producing some really good beer, so it's quite cool that there is a very small renaissance going on in our area, and especially in an area that's very well known for whisky as well. But that's your sort of brief history of the Williams Brothers Brewery, so we'll get on to the tasting of this one now. So this one is, I believe it's a 4.3% one. I'll just check that. That seems an unusual ABV. But yeah, that's right, it's a 4.3% red ale. The malt profile on this one, it uses lager malt, ale malt, malted wheat, oats, Vienna, Munich, dark crystal. That's all the malts there, and the hops that are in this one are First Gold, Styrians, Goldings, Amarillo, Cascade, and also Styrian hops. So it's quite an interesting sort of blend that we should get into this one, and I know it's a really nice beer, so I'm looking forward to tasting it for you. But I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a quick little look at the artwork before we get on to the tasting here. You can see the nice cockerel on it. This beer is very nicely presented, but it'll be difficult to show you just with the light since it's silver. The camera doesn't really pick up on it that well, but you can see this sort of Celtic symbol up here is the symbol of the Williams Brothers Brewery, and this is one of the 2 bottle caps that you'll quite commonly find on these. You sometimes get a white one with a sort of grey thing on the back, but you can just see the Williams Brothers symbol on it there, and it tells you a little bit at the back. It says, a classic red ale brewed with large amounts of crystal malts which give the beer a warm red colour. Lots of late whole hops, Cascade and Bobic, add a lovely citrusy hoppy aroma, and it tells you the ingredients. Best by November 2015. You can see on the back there, that's the address of the brewery, Kellybank, Alloa. So Williams Brothers Brewing Company. So this is a really nice beer that we're going to try today, so let's get it out and get on with the tasting. So 4.3 red ale from Alloa in Scotland. As you can see, a nice smoky opening, so we'll get this guy out and into the glass. But William, as I said to you, Williams Brothers have got some really interesting stuff. I need to try more of the historic things, but the beers, any beer I've tried from these guys, I have to admit I have really liked. So those of you watching in America and Australia, I know definitely in America you can get some of these beers. Australia, I'm not too sure about, but if you do happen to see them, definitely worth trying these guys. There's quite a few of these I like, but it's always good, I think, to start off with Freyak. But most of the beers, or all of them in fact, are very, very good quality, so definitely worth trying. I'll just check that the light is good so you can see the beer. So this guy has come out a really nice kind of clear reddy colour. It's a sort of mahogany colour actually. Maybe you can describe that as a sort of sunburst red if you like. It's kind of quite nice. That's what they described it as on the website, a sunburst red, and it does seem to come out like that. I'm not sure how well you can see it. I'll just bring the light over. You can see through it. It is transparent. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see it there. The colour of the beer doesn't seem to come out very well in this room right enough, but it's a really nice sort of solid red colour. Really nice looking beer. You've got a nice sort of finger of a really kind of creamy, slightly off-white head there, I would say, and it's really nice. You can just smell how fresh this beer is just from even not even sniffing it in too deeply, but you can just get a sense of how hoppy this beer is actually. So in terms of the aroma here, you're getting a nice little bit of you're getting a lot of kind of sweet hoppy character on it. It's actually very hoppy in aroma from what you would expect from a red ale. You'd expect a more malty beer from red ale, but you've got a nice grassy sort of hoppy character in there, some nice citrus too, and it's almost a little bit spicy. You can, when you sort of sugar it just a little bit like this, you can pick up the nice kind of very malty caramel, and there's a nice little bit of spice character in there too. It's a little bit earthy, I think, too. You can pick that up just at the back of the nose. I think it really is a little bit earthy. It almost has a little bit of a woody aroma to it, as if it's been barrel aged actually, but not quite as vanilla-y as that. It just has this little kind of nice woody character to it. It mixes with the earth very, very well actually. But it's a really nice smelling beer. There's some nice spicy yeast bready character in there. It mixes very, very well, but it's got a nice little bit of hoppy, fruity character to it as well. But let's give it a taste and see how we get on here. I know this is really beautiful beer, so I'm looking forward to this one. Yeah, nice. It comes out a little bit more malty on the taste when you first take it in. Yeah, very malty. It's got a nice spicy kind of bready and yeasty base in it. And it definitely has that earthy character, that kind of earthy character and a little bit of woody flavour. The woody flavour's coming out a little bit more towards the edge of the palate, but the kind of earthy character is kind of spiking a little bit on the front, and that's probably aided by the hops. In fact, you get the earthy character from the hops. And if I'm not mistaken in that, it will be the English hops in this, the Styrian Goldings and things. If I remember correctly, you usually get that kind of earthy character from those hops, which is maybe why they've chosen it for that. But yeah, as within the taste, the caramel mixes with this. There's a really kind of nice little bit of woody element in there. You get it just as it comes out a little bit more in the aftertaste, but it is there, and it just sort of lays a little bit of a blanket over the tongue. In fact, it mixes very, very well with that nice earthy character. There's a little bit of caramel in there, but the caramel mixes very well with this nice earthy and woody thing. The malt base on this one blends together really well, and this, as you saw when I read out the malt base, it is a rather complex one, and that kind of is reflected in the flavour of the beer. There's a nice little bit of kind of citricy and maybe even just a little touch of grassy character. Very, very little, I would say. A little bit of citric grassiness comes out at the start of the tongue, or at the front of the tongue, sorry, just when you're getting into the aftertaste of the beer. It's a very complex one. This just if you get the chance to try it, just sit and enjoy it and take in the flavours of this guy. And it's got the bitterness in it as well. Also has this little bit of spicy character that you can pick up in the aroma. It's almost a little bit peppery actually, but very, very light peppery. It's very mild, but it's very, very nice, and the bready character is kind of helped by the sort of smooth mouthfeel that you have from this one. It's really interesting. It is almost as if it's not quite a bitter, but it's not quite as sweet as some of the red ales I've had before. The bitter character, you would expect it to be a lot more spicy than this, and it's almost as if it just takes a little it is almost as if this beer just nicks a tiny little bit of a bitter character, just a little bit of spice in it, and it's really nice. A lot of the red ales I've had from America and things, they have a lot of the caramel comes out a little bit more prominently, but this earthy character in this one is really kind of what sets it aside a little bit. But with the mouthfeel, this is definitely a mid-bodied one. It's quite smooth. The interesting thing about this one is with the thickness level of it, even when it comes out the bottle, it does have the feel of some of these cask ales actually. It comes out in a similar sense to that. It's a little bit dry just towards the end, but that kind of soon subsides and you get the nice sort of bready and spicy yeast character come back into it, and it wets up just a little bit more after that. But overall, it's a very, very nice beer. It's got a very well balanced flavour, and as I said to you, very, very complex. So if you do try this beer, just take a little bit of time and try and take in all the flavours of this one. It's a really, really nice one. But as in my opinion, the red ales that I've tried before, this one kind of is more of a Scottish red ale where it's going to be a little bit darker and things like that. So if you're expecting a kind of American style red ale, this one probably isn't what you're looking for. But if you want to try something that's a little bit different and more of a Scottish traditional thing, then definitely give it a try. And as I said at the start of the video, pretty much anything you'll take out of the Williams Brothers Brewery is very, very good. So give it a go. But I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. I've enjoyed reviewing this one for you. As I said, one of my best friend's favourite beers. So I thank you again for watching my beer reviews. As always, comment in the comments section below and let me know your own thoughts on this beer. Always interesting to hear that. And please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I'll catch you soon with another beer review. Cheers.